welcome. Today we're going to work on the letter Z, the last letter of the alphabet. As Z goes left to right, diagonally down to the left, and then over to the right. It's good to know what a Z looks like when you are sleepy and drawing things with angles in them. Alright, so we're going to draw a Z as a trumpet shape. We go this way. Goes down this way. And then across this way. And flare out into another trumpet shape. Because I enjoy trumpet shapes. Alright, what else shall we put on our Z? We'll put some internal lines. So we can have inside and outside. Let's have it go up like this. That means we'll have an internal line here. Goes like this. Alright, and that means let's do something like this to match it. Let's just even this line out a little better. Alright, we'll put a little butterfly in here. Some curly cues. Alright, I like that. So we have got a Z shape. We've got some internal decorations, and we've got a butterfly. Alright, so once you've got the basic shape down in pencil, you switch over to your waterproof pen, and you draw in the shape over your pencil lines. Keep in mind the pen is going on wet, so try not to rest your hand on any of the wet ink because it will smear. My hands tend to be a little shaky, so I need to rest my hand in general when I am drawing. And I have to be careful about where I am resting the hand so it doesn't do something to the artwork I am working on. I think my pen is finally starting to die after using this for quite a while. Shows how long these pens last. I'll have to track down another one. Just setting up the internal decorative areas for our Z and our little butterfly. Alright, so we have now drawn in the pen and ink for the shape. And just give that a moment to dry before we start painting it. For a brush, I want something that's big enough that it's not going to take me 8 hours to paint these details in. I'll go with an 8, and it still has a pointy enough tip that I should be able to get into the little detail areas. I'm not a fan of switching brushes around if I don't need to. I'd rather just work with one brush and get the stuff done. Colors. What colors? For some reason I'm drawn to purple today, so we'll go with the Royal Langle Violet, which is this one right here. It's a nice rich violet color. This violet. I'll try to keep track of which color one was working with so that everything comes out to be the same shade. Keep in mind that when something is freshly wet with watercolors, it's going to look darker than as it dries. So it's good to think about doing things in layers. To put on a layer, see what you think, put on another layer, see what you think, and work your way towards the destination shade and color that you are hoping for. Not sure what I'm thinking for the other color. Could be gold, could be yellow. Maybe I'll go with yellow this time. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm happy to answer questions. can see on here how different passes with the paint came up with different levels of darkness. So this is part of why it's good to go back over things with an additional layer to get everything the shade that you were hoping for. Alright, I like the sense with watercolors as not all the exact same shade, because that can make it look like it was just printed by a Photoshop printer. I like having different shades and different brush indicators in the work, which helps show that it was done by a human being with some intentions in mind. And it's funny now people are doing that in Photoshop. They're deliberately making things more uneven so that their Photoshop looks more handmade and not just, you know, drop the little paint bucket and fill in a shape with a swatch of color. So all the systems feed off of each other. Alright, but we'll go with that. I think you get the gist of it. Put a little of the purple in the butterfly. And then the next color will be the yellow for the interior. We have to give the purple a moment to dry, because otherwise when we put the yellow in, the yellow will just smear into the purple and the purple will just smear into the yellow. On one hand, I could add something else flying around in here, but I don't know how many different things I want to fly. I suppose while I'm waiting for the purple to dry, what I could do is draw in a little dangling star off of this thing. We have something else that's in there. And that star could be gold. Just want to give that ink half a second to dry. Speaking of things drying. A little gold for the star. Alright, so the star is set. Question is, has the yellow dried? I guess we are about to find out. This is where a key helps. This yellow over here looks sort of dull, but when it paints, it actually paints nice and bright. Alright, let's turn this and try to be careful not to touch the purple. I don't trust that purple to be completely dry yet, but I also don't want to wait 20 minutes while the paint dries. So we're just going to leave a little bit of white edge for now. Be very careful getting towards that edge. Alright, seems to have lasted. And starting in the center, and then being very careful right now when going towards the edge, because that purple was just put down. It could still be wet Don't want purple color pouring out into the yellow. Be very light in touch when I go over towards that purple area. Alright, and the third one. Start with the center, which is safe. It looks like the purple is fairly dry now, but still being careful. I go near the purple edge. Especially these little nooks. Trying not to touch the purple. Alrighty. Well, that gold looks a little dull now compared with this bright yellow, so we'll give some yellow into the star. So now it's a gold yellow. Alright, and similarly, these butterfly wings, I bet that purple in the center is still wet, so just have to be careful not to get too close to it. Leave a little bit of dry paper in between the yellow that I'm painting. And a butterfly. Alright, can I risk the little gold dots around the edge? That purple is looking fairly dry now, so I think I will risk it. I just have a little bit of gold left here, so this will be a perfect way to finish up this gold. Just going to put little dots, gold all around the edging. Luckily, it looks like the purple is dry enough now that those gold dots are staying dot shaped, which is great. And again, it's a fairly subtle thing. It probably won't show up that well on the computer monitor or the webcam, but it's just a little bit of dotting around the edge to add a little bit of fun visual interest. And in person, this gold metallic paint is shimmery, so it adds a little bit of shimmer in there. Once I get these down, I will hold the paper up for you to hopefully be able to see it. But part of what I'm doing here is just using up the rest of this little gold extra paint I had, which means I'll then be able to clean this corner off and put a fresh dollop on. I am fairly frugal when it comes to paints, and if I've got a little bit of paint there, I might as well use it. There's no need to waste it. Alright, is this paint dry? We'll find out. Oh look, that paint was even dry, so I was able to put some little gold spots on his stomach. That yellow is still wet, so if I put gold in there, it's just going to spread. Well, I suppose it doesn't really matter if we have little gold areas of it. Alrighty. Now I suppose one thing I will try to do while I've got a little bit of a moment here is I'm going to completely clean my brush off, make it nice and clean, squeeze out the water so that it is damp, and then I'm going to scrub a little bit. There's a little splotch of purple that got in here. I'm just going to scrub away a little bit at this purple. So I'm using it sort of like a sponge, sort of like a scrubber. I'm able to lift up some of that darker purple area and get that removed. And now I should be able to just brush the yellow back in there from the sides and have it be reasonably smooth yellow. There we go. I'll sign it. Now we have a letter Z, illustrated with pen and ink and watercolor. Let me know if you have any questions. I am happy to help. And have a wonderful afternoon.